Wanna get high?
Hey.
Wanna get high? Wanna get high?
Whether you think so or not, that is a number fucking one, and if that bastard don't go, then I fucking retire. I fucking do.
I think it is a good song. I agree, it is a good song.
But it fucking won't be unless we spend a little bit of fucking thought and imagination to fucking make it fucking number one. You gotta put a little bit of fucking fairy dust over the bastard, you know, look at, you know.
Well, we'll put some fairy dust over it. I'll piss over the tape.
I'm a fairy dust. Do you know what I mean? It's you know, I don't know what it needs then, but I know that it needs.
I know that it needs strings. I do know.
Right.
Right.
And it needs something at the beginning of that number to make somebody remember it.
Look, yeah, while we were arguing here, we could be trying to get some sound out there, trying to get something right. So what do you suggest we do then? Give it up for the night?
No, not at all. I don't say give it up. I'll stay here till tomorrow night.
Oh, then what's wrong?
Just provided we get something going.
We will.
Get something going.
We will.
Trying different things.
But it's that what he was playing. Agreed. The sound is
listen, we got about what? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 producers in here tonight.
We haven't got 6 producers.
Yes, we have. If we had one producer here tonight, we'd get it right. Oh, he would get it the way he thinks he should be. But because we haven't got a producer, we're all fucking pitching in ideas.
Yeah, well, we always do that.
Most of them are wrong, you know.
Not necessarily. They're not necessarily wrong.
But we're trying. And it makes his life fucking hell. You have one producer that's talking great. But we haven't got a producer. We were supposed to have a fucking producer. But we haven't got one.
Yeah.
So this is what he's been going fucking wrong. You've got to have a fucking bloke that says, I've got a fucking sound in here that's fucking great. Come in here and have a fucking listen to it. And you come in here and it's probably a different fucking tune nearly. But if it's fucking good, yeah, that's it. But when we
But what would you have said if
the
the producer would have been here and he would have left it exactly as it is, as you've got it now?
What producer would do that?
I don't know. There might be. You don't know. He might say keep it like that and put whatever else, strings or whatever.
We wouldn't have signed a contract with him in the first place.
Who?
Any producer.
You don't have to sign a contract with him.
Right.
You don't have to sign a contract with a producer to have a record produced.
We thank you and good night if he left it the way it is now.
Ah, you see, then you'd argue with him.
Yeah. But no producer would leave it like that.
You don't know.
No.
No producer would.
You know, he might say we'll put other things on it. We'll overdub. You know, we'll put strings on it or brass or whatever his idea on, or a fucking wobble board. I don't know.
Yeah.
But would you agree to that?
Well, for a fucking start, I don't suppose you'd even.
Oh yeah, sure. But would you agree? Would you have a producer? Would you have a producer sit here and say, "That's it"?
Have faith in the
That is what we want. That is what we need. Because you can see the way we're going on. We need a producer to say, "No, you're not doing that. You're fucking doing this." That's what we need.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you'd wear it.
We would.
We would if we had faith in him, and we'd know whether we had faith in him within the first fucking half an hour.
Did you do exactly what Larry Page said?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how they had hit records.
Because there was just one fucking mind on it.
Until we had that
Not
fucking
7 or 8.
we didn't even fucking get a say in it. It was fucking wham. It was in the can. Regardless, you reckon that was bad? Fuck me. He used to, you know. I mean, one take. That's it. Finish. We said, well, and you never had a fucking say, and it was out. As weak and fucking insipid you used to think, well, fucking hell.
We thought with a girl like you was fucking terrible, and we said, let's go in and do it again. And that was the only fucking time he let us fucking have our way. And could we get anything fucking better?
No.
Fucking the first thing he fucking did.
All fucking day.
Was
we
it?
were in there at 9 o'clock. We didn't come out until like 3 o'clock the next fucking morning. And they had Mick Jagger, you name them, they were fucking in there to try and make it better.
Anyway,
and
Chris is sitting out there wondering what he's going to do. Now, what are we going to do?
What about a fucking 12-string on it? Doing what he was doing. That sounded so
Play the beginning again, Barry.
We could put that on. Let's just put it on. It can always be taken on afterwards.
Play the beginning again.
Because we're not going to mix down tonight, anyway.
That sounds empty, and unless you can get really something exceptional...
Just play the beginning again.
Yeah!
had it there at the beginning, Ron. It was sounding good. Just, Ronnie, just listen for a sec.
I just cannot feel it any other way than what I've been fucking doing it.
You have played it tonight.
You better fucking forget it, because I ain't gonna be able to do it. I'll tell you that now. I cannot fucking do it. I don't know, because if that's the case, then we should fucking find out before we ever get to the fucking studio that we want to fucking do that, and that, because we've been doing it with everything.
It's easy, you've done it tonight.
Fucking week it's been going down. You know, but don't expect fucking miracles just like that, Reg. It's fucking in there, embedded in there. I can't fucking hear it any other way but that.
But you have done it. You did it.
It is exactly the same rhythm as you were playing before. It's da 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 da, ja, da 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 da. On different drums, that's all.
You doing
We're not
da ba
asking
da
you
ba,
what beats
boom
it.
boom ba.
Play da 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 da, ja.
No more beats.
Just play da 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 da, ja, on whatever drums you were playing on originally. How you've got
Yeah.
it embedded in.
Yeah, all right.
And then just start moving it about with the good drum. What you were doing is exactly the same as what you were doing originally.
Only you were doing
yeah,
it.
I know.
And you
I
did
know.
it. And you did it. You went.
You can say that all fucking night, but
Yeah,
you won't listen.
We can keep on trying and then you can get it
Yeah,
together.
well just shut your fucking mouth for 5 minutes and give me a fucking chance to do it. Don't keep fucking racking down that fucking microphone. There. Fuck me, Reg. Just fuck off
you
in
fucking
there
think then. We're not.
and just keep going
Then we're
fucking
not
through
here.
it. Don't just keep saying, oh yeah, but that ain't right. I know it ain't fucking right. I can fucking hear it ain't right, you cunt. Wow, fuck me, you
I
say.
can hear it's fucking not right too.
I fucking can, and I'm not just playing it. So when I fucking hear it in me fucking head, yeah, that's what I gotta fucking do, then I'll do it. You big pranny.
Listen, we keep on playing it and just
Fucking
play
hell.
what you think is right. Okay, right. Can you sing along with it as well? Because then we'll know where we are until we all take it.
Fucking drummer, I shit him. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're doing it fucking wrong. Da ba da ba da ba cha. Da ba da ba da ba cha. Da ba da ba da ba cha. Da ba da ba. You did it. You did it in the beginning. Bloody hell, I can't play with that. Hey? Well, you're fucking doing it. Why don't you just do what you fucking started out doing? Da ba da ba da ba cha. Do it on your top one. Da ba da ba da ba cha. Da ba da ba da ba cha. No!
You're talking at the back of your fucking asses because all you want then is the same fucking thing that I was playing fucking originally.
On different fucking drums!
Different drums!
Well then, all you want then is the fucking that one and the fucking bass drum playing the same thing.
You're the drummer.
Yes, you fucking do. Because that's all you're fucking doing.
Tell me what
You ain't playing any fucking thing else. All right, I play that. I'm going. And you're changing the fucking thing all completely because you can't fucking do it.
No, one on this.
You're going. Yeah, but fucking.
Exactly the same thing on different drums.
You don't fucking listen, that's your trouble.
We didn't say we want different things on.
We're saying what you... And you did it. You fucking did it.
And then change it around and do it the other fucking way round.
Oh, fuck it.
You fucking sorry.
Always fucking get this. You go...
You should have a little more time than to be able to just flip it over and change it.
Well, getting every fucking so long.
In fact, we're not asking you to change it much. We're only asking you to do half of it on one drum, half of it on the other, and the bang wherever you want to bang. Ronnie, can you hear me? Yeah. What about trying it, not on that top, just on that top skin floor, and then your floor tom-tom, but try it on, split your hands so that one beat is doing it on the top drum, one's doing it on the floor tom-tom, then your bass. Sound a bit. Hey? Top.
So they used to come up to Dick James and we'd speak and have a few laughs, and I would cut demos for them and everything. Anyway, one night I was engineering. This was now after I'd come back from Island Studios. I was now studio manager, and they wanted to do a master recording, which they hadn't done at Dick James before, but they wanted to do it. They didn't have a producer with them, and Dennis Berger, who was one of the A&R guys in the office, was just there to oversee it. And of course it was that same studio. Now we had decent equipment, but I still couldn't see the control of the studio. They couldn't see me. And the other office is where we had Reg Presley, because he was playing acoustic guitar. So we were all separate. The studio had the drummer, the electric guitarist, and Tony, the bass player. I was in the control room with Dennis, and Reg was in the other office. None of us could see each other. And they started trying to put this thing down, and it went on and on. It was hilarious what was going on. So I thought, should I not? So we had some 2-track tapes, so I put that into record. And I let the tapes run through the whole session. And when they came back in the control room to hear what they'd done and then talk about it, I would sit with my finger on the talkback, because the ident would go to the tape. Anyway, this session went on for 3-4 hours maybe, and it just fell apart totally. And we abandoned it at 2 in the morning or something, and everyone went home. I was tired. I just turned the studio off, went home. The following day, there was no session booked in. As I say, it was only a demo studio, so we didn't work all the time. And I had, 3 or 4 or 5 reels of 1/4-inch tape that I'd recorded, and I was thinking, I wonder if it was as funny as I thought it was. So I'd mark them as 1, 2, 3. So I put the first one on, I listened to it, and there's lots of talking, lots of blank bits, lots of doors slamming, people going in and out of the thing. So I would just listen to it until I got to a funny part, and I'd cut that funny part, right? And then I would listen to the next bit. There'd be 5 minutes of nothing or just boring talk. So I'd pull all that bit out, and then the next funny part would come along, so I'd join it up. Now, I kept joining all the funny bits, never intending to make anything, but just to have all the funny comments, And I went through it. It took me a couple of hours, all these reels, cutting out, long stretches of nothing, and then hearing funny bits. But it was as it was. I never got a bit and thought that would be good in that bit. It just was as it happened through the evening. And at the end of it, I just, had a cup of tea, and I played it back, and I thought, oh my God, that is unbelievable. And someone came into the studio, one of the guys worked there. I said, listen to this. And fell about and said, oh, give us a copy. And I went, all right. And it just went from there. Yeah, and I was the guy that did the Troggs tape, but not too many people know that. Yeah, and I started doing tapes for people, which I thought, I shouldn't be doing this, but people wanted tapes. And of course, they'd have a tape and they'd copy it for their mates and this, that, and the other. And it went on and on and on. Anyway, time went on, and a few months later, Dick James came into the control room and said, I've heard that there's this tape going around of the Troggs. do you know anything about it? And I thought, oh, well, that's it, I'm dead, you know. And I said, well, actually, yeah, I do. He didn't ask questions. He said, well, do you have a copy? And I went, yeah. He said, could you do me a copy, because they're coming up. They've heard about it too, and they want to hear it. And I thought, oh, shit. Well, that's it. You know, I'm out the business, you know. So I made a copy, and I was very, very worried. So they all came in, and Reg came into the studio, and we were talking. We didn't talk about the tape. He said they had a meeting with Dick. He didn't say what it was about. So we talked. Anyway, he went in. I'd given the tape earlier to Dick James, you know. So they all went in the office, and they had this meeting. And the office was just sort of around the corner from the studio. So after 10, 15 minutes, I wasn't busy, so I came out into the reception area where Dick's office was, and I could hear the tape. They just started it. Now, all of them are in there, Dick, all the Troggs, and the tape. And it's going on, and suddenly, this was the incredible thing, I heard Reg's voice, louder than the tape, yelling at the drummer, saying, hey, I told you were fucking wrong. You can't fucking play it. I told you. And they're now arguing again over the top of the tape that was the argument, you know. And I'm thinking, should I run in with a mic and do a follow-up? You know, I was really, honestly, it was just incredible, you know, that they were arguing and laughing while hearing the tape. And I thought, well, this is interesting, you know. So I stayed around for a little while, and there was quiet again, and then there was more arguing. So I went back in the studio. Anyway, after about 20 minutes, half an hour after the meeting was over, I was out in the studio thinking, oh God, Dick's going to call me, and all hell's going to break loose. Anyway, Reg came into the control room, and he went, yeah, Dick just played us that tape. It's fucking funny. He said, could you do us a copy? And that was it. That's as far as it went. They loved it. Then a few years later, I was on the road. We're up in Birmingham, and before the gig I was in the green room or dressing room or whatever, and there was loads of people in there. And a guy I hadn't seen for years, who actually engineered Kiki Dee's first album that I produced with Elton, the Loving and Free album, a guy called Richard Dodd. He came up to me, and I hadn't seen him for years since we'd done that album. Hey, Clive. Oh, Richard, what are you doing here? He said, well, I came to see the show. He said, but I'm up here working with Jeff Lynne. We're doing an album for him, and here in Birmingham, you know, and so we talked for a while, and you know, and he said, yeah, George is here, and I hadn't noticed George Harrison was standing in the corner. I hadn't even noticed, you know. And he said, have you met George? I said, oh, years ago, you know, they were signed to Dick James and one thing and another. And I said I did meet him, but he wouldn't remember me. And he said, well, I'll introduce you to him, you know. So Richard took me over, and George was talking to somebody. Anyway, when they finished talking, Richard said, George, I'd like you to meet an old work friend of mine, you know, from way back, Clive Franks. He did the Troggs tape. That's what he said to him. That was his opening line, right? And so here's the killer line. George came back and said, you did the Troggs tape. Let me shake your hand. You've given me and the boys years and years of pleasure. And I was like gobsmacked, you know. And I said, hang on a minute, you're George Harrison. I'm supposed to be saying that to you. You've given me years. And so that broke the ice, you know. And we started talking about the Troggs tape.
What you were doing is exactly the same as what you were doing originally.
Yeah, only you were doing it.
I know.
And you did it. And you did it.
You can say that all fucking night, but you won't listen.
We can keep on trying, and then you can get it.
Yeah, well, just shut your fucking mouth for 5 minutes and give me a fucking chance to do it. Don't keep fucking racking that fucking microphone. There.
Is there a story, like, from being in the music industry, your favourite story that you can tell us?
Oh, ding, ding, ding. I think the weirdest thing that happened was when Page One decided that they desperately needed another single to go out after we'd recorded Love Is All Around, and they summoned us to their studio and said, well, we've arranged the producer and everything. Reg had got a song to do called Tranquility. We hadn't even rehearsed it. You know, we usually always rehearse by ourselves in a garage or a room somewhere, so any arguments and discussions get sorted out. We know exactly what we're doing when we get into the studio. Unfortunately, on this occasion, we turned up there. We hadn't got a clue what the song was all about, how it was going to go. It ended up in a heated discussion, shall we say, that the sound engineer kept recording. We thought it was an echo tape going up. A 45-minute argument of Reg shouting at Ronnie and Ronnie shouting back at Reg. it is quite hilarious to listen back to. And without our knowing it, they shipped us out to all the recording studios around London to cater young bands when they come in. They're a bit nervous and cautious about what they're doing. So he said, oh, well, you relax, guys, get on with it. This is how the big boys do it. That's what they take the mickey out of us. We didn't know about this until about 6 months later, until somebody came up and said, I've heard that tape you did. It's hilarious. And then they played it to us, and of course it was. But that's been following us around also for about the last 50 years. And I think in the studio sessions, it's almost as famous as Wild Thing is.
Fuck me, Reg. Just fuck
Well,
off.
you
in there.
think then. We're not.
And just keep going
Then we're not
through
here.
it. Don't just keep saying, oh yeah, but that ain't right. I know it ain't fucking right. I can fucking hear it ain't right, you cunt. Wow, fuck me, you
I
say.
can hear it's fucking not right too.
I fucking can, and I'm the cunt that's playing it. So when I fucking hear it in me fucking head, yeah, that's what I gotta fucking do, then I'll do it. You big pranny. Listen.
Now tell us about the notorious Troggs tapes that emerged in later years. Do you vividly remember those sessions that are represented on those tapes?
Well, it's not those sessions. What happened was we were coming to the end of a contract with our record company, our everything, you know, the music side of it, you know, was sort of non-existent. But they discovered that we still owed them 2 songs. And they phoned me like on the Friday to say, we booked the studio on Monday, come in and finish your contract by doing 2 songs. Well, we weren't ready. Normally we'd go in a garage, as I said, and we'd go over it, and all the arguments would come out in the garage, and you'd be ready then to go in the studio and do it. And it never used to take long, believe me. I mean, the longest we were in the studio in those days was 2.5 hours doing an album. You know, that's pretty damn quick. You know? So, you know, we went in there and I had embryos of ideas in my head. And, of course, when we started to get at it, all the arguments that normally come out in the garage came out in the studio. And they knew they weren't going to get anything, so they just left the tape running. But we heard it about 6 months later. We'd just come out of another studio, went in for a drink, and this guy said, you're the Troggs, aren't you? I've got a record of yours, and played it. And we were annoyed for about 10 minutes, but we didn't stop laughing. So in the end, we just said, we could have probably sued him, but we said, it's a bit of fun.
So who was...
If a new group now goes into a studio and they've got nerves and that, and they're very nervous, they normally play it to a new group and say, you're nervous? Listen to the Troggs.
So things never really got that heated in the studio. It was normally, that was all out of the system by the time you got to recording.
Oh, yeah.
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 Who was responsible for getting those tapes out into the public arena? Did you find out who the culprit was?
Well, it had to be the guy that was doing it. It must have been Elton John's lot, because they all sort of left at the same time. And I know that one of his guys that recorded him was actually recording it, because he came out through the same publisher as we did, and that's where we were recording, in the publisher's studio. And it isn't like a normal studio where you look through the glass and you can see the artist trying to do it. And there was a corridor, and it was a cheap old studio, really, for Dick James. I mean, it was a huge company, but this stupid studio. And you used to have to come out of one door and you'd hear dum 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 dum, dum dum dum. You pranny. And then dum 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 dum, back into the studio, you know. It was so funny. But no, I mean, you know, someone got it out, someone did it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're doing it fucking wrong.
Will you shut up? We're not gonna have a family brawl.